Good morning.
Good morning. How we doing?
What time is it where you're at, Easy? Amazing.
It's 9 o'clock. 9 a.m.
Oh, that's good. What time did you get up?
4.
Holy cow. Is
Yeah,
that so you
man.
can do stuff without interruption from your kids?
Coach
Or is
classes
it
and
because of your
then do
kid?
stuff. So I get up at 4 to coach the 5 a.m. class, and then I just sit up. Like today, I just sat up and did my online programming and just sat in the gym uninterrupted, knocked some stuff out.
What's the name of your online programming?
Unorthodox training.
You've been
And
doing
how
that
long
for a
you...
while, right?
It's been I did it for about 2 years, and then I stopped it and just shut it down because I was just like, all right, I just need a little breather, and then just got back to it. So it's been up for another year.
Are you glad you got back to it?
Yeah, I mean it's decent revenue. Like it's the revenue stream is pretty decent, and then I just thought I was gonna be. I got back to it because I thought I was gonna be competing on team to try to go to the games, and so I was just like, well, I've always done my own programming, so I need to kind of get this back live so that I can create the revenue stream and also program for myself as I prepare to compete. And then COVID happened, so that just was shut down.
Oh, is that why you didn't pursue the team thing? Because of that whole insanity?
Yeah, so we were in Canada about to compete, and then
Oh,
that's
you're
where everything
lucky.
happened.
You're lucky you got out of the country.
Yeah, listen, I got out of there quick, man.
Wait, you were at that same event that Brian's mentioned that a few times on the podcast. You were there too, Elijah?
Um, yeah, I was
The
in
Atlas games, yeah.
at the Alice Games. Yeah, I was there.
Holy cow! We were just speaking. Who else have we spoken to? Who was there? We spoke to Medeiros yesterday. Was he was there, right? Or
No,
no,
he was
Zach
getting ready
Watts.
for West Coast Classic. Zach Watts would have been there, yeah.
Yeah,
I dug through your Instagram all the way back to 2012 yesterday, Elijah. Man, you know everybody. I mean, you have been in the game so long. At one point, I'm like, well, he's got everyone but Fraser, and then I'm like, nope. Here's where he was on the grid league with Fraser.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
man.
crazy.
Bounced around with everybody. I always tell people it's like it's
What
funny
a
because like I've been around the greats. Like you know I've trained with them, worked out with them, um, got to learn from them. So it's been pretty cool, like the journey of like on a team with Frazier, um, training with Froning, on a team with Annie, training with Dan, um, just kind of being in that space with them daily and regularly, to kind of see like the differences between like a 16th place athlete and a first place athlete. You know, like just the difference in how we structure things and what we kind of go for.
it's more though than you train those other people you said you trained with, but it's more than you trained with Rich. You're of his, I don't know, lineage or pedigreed. I mean, that is you were there in the beginning with Rich.
Yeah,
I mean, that was the family tree that you come from.
yeah, yeah, for sure, man. That
Can
that was a huge. Oh, go ahead.
no say what year was that you started training with him?
Um, 11 and 12, the end of 2010
And
to early 2012.
and the things that you guys were doing then, or were there things that you were doing then that you don't think other people were doing that a lot of people are doing now?
I just think it was the volume, like the magnitude and the intensity of what we were doing. I think around that time people were still. I don't think anyone was weightlifting like us. I don't think anyone was like lifting like us. I think we were lifting a lot. Like it was like your traditional like testosterone, just man sessions, like who can lift the most weight, a lot. But we were also training a lot. You know what I'm saying? We were just actually working out a lot. So I think it was the fact that we were working out a ton, but the intensity was just through the roof every session. It was like 7, 8 guys just, I don't want to lose. I don't want to be dead last. And I think that is what produced the athletes to come out of there so fast. Where it's just like, you couldn't beat that intensity. You couldn't get that in any other room.
And can you get that somewhere else now? Or is that still the only place?
Yeah. Nah, it's everywhere now, man. It's everywhere now.
And to paint the picture for people who don't know and fix any of my errors here, please, Easy. But basically, Easy has an interesting path because I think a lot of people have aspirations to become CrossFit Games athletes, and Easy took a little bit of a different path. He went from obviously collegiate athlete, but then he went to strength and conditioning coach, and from coach then he became athlete. And he had catch up to do because he entered, although he was a super talented athlete, he joined the fledgling Froning empire at a time when it was in its infancy, but Rich was so far ahead of everyone else. So Easy, I mean, you had to jump in and play massive catch up. I was just watching a video last night. When you entered the game, you never had walked on your hands before, let alone been as strong as these guys. So you had a super steep learning curve and a lot of strength to build quickly. Isn't that true?
Yeah, man. Also, I mean, I was like 165. Like, I was a skinny college kid, you know. So on top of, like, I remember the first regional in 2012. That was the first year I qualified for regionals, and I had never done a pistol. Like, I had never done it. Rich had never put in programming. We've never done it. And then it came out that it was like a 2K row, 30 hang cleans at 225 into like 50 pistols or something like that. Or it was like row pistols, hang cleans. And I just remember like, what's a pistol? And I just remember Rich like, oh, this. And he just starts doing them. Like, he just starts knocking them out. And I'm like, I've never seen anyone do that. Like, I've never done that. Like, we've never programmed that or done that. Yeah, it was just those incidences where it was just like, I got to catch on to this like in a couple weeks and figure out how to do this in a workout. So it was a lot of things that training with them, I was just like, I wasn't a squat snatcher. I couldn't do full squats in 2011 in the open. I didn't know how to overhead squat. I think it was the year you came down and you actually did a video at that open workout in 2011, Sevan. And it was, I can't remember the girl's name, but it was a girl there. She was an Armenian chick.
Haley, my wife?
No, it was, you were following.
Oh, Jessica Pamanian.
Yeah, Pamanian. You were following her, and they came into the open workout with us. And I remember that year was a burpee over the bar, and overhead squat and ring muscle up workout. It's like 60 burpee over bar, 30 overhead squats, 10 ring muscle ups. And I think it was like an 11-minute cap. And the first time I did that workout, I got 7 overhead squats. In 11 minutes, I did 60 burpees and was able to get 7 overhead squats because I had never overhead squatted before. And so it was just things like that, training with them, where it was just like, not only was I already weaker than them, but I got to learn these things. Like, I have to figure these things out pretty much on the fly. So yeah, it was a.
Was there a danger of you getting injured in that environment because of, like, for lack of a better word, ego? You're like, okay, they're doing this, I need to do this. Or did you? And you were young, right? We're talking a 20 or 22-year-old Elijah Muhammad.
Yeah, I was I want to say I was much more mature and understanding, but as far as getting injured, I just never think about injuries. I feel like when you start thinking about getting hurt, you're gonna get hurt. So I just don't process it. It's like, you're gonna jump or you're not gonna jump. Stop debating it so much, you know. Like, so I think in the training setting, that injury just never was processed. Where it was just like, I might get hurt, and it was also to the unknown. Like, I didn't know. Yeah, I just didn't know, like, if I do all of this or train this much or try to do this much volume, I'm at risk of getting hurt. Because in college, it was like, you were training all the time, you were working out all the time, you were playing basketball all the time, you were playing pickup constantly. So you just weed out the, like, I never went to a pickup game like, oh, I gotta be careful because I might get hurt for the season. When I went to play pickup, it was like, let's play ball. Like, so I just don't think the process of that was really there.
Elijah, how tall are you?
6 foot. Six
Really?
one and a half
You're only 6. Okay. Wow. Man, I always thought you were taller than 6 foot. You're only 6 foot?
Yeah, 6 foot.
Holy cow! You present tall. So, and what state are you in right now?
Iowa.
And where were you born?
Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. So you're born in Columbus, Ohio. Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I got 4 sisters and 1 brother.
Holy cow! So you're one of 6.
Yeah, and the youngest.
Wow. That's and how many years is the oldest? How many years older is the oldest?
The oldest is, I'm 33, so she's 45. No, 33, 15, 47. 45,
Okay.
47. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And so you're born in Columbus, Ohio, and you're raised there. And when did you leave?
As soon as I graduated from high school.
Was it for college?
Yep.
And that was it. And that's when you went to Cookeville.
No, I went to Chicago first and played at a junior college for 2 years at South Suburban Illinois in the South Suburbs, and then transferred to Tennessee Tech.
And why did you transfer to Tennessee Tech?
Just change of pace, man. Get out of certain environments, certain areas that I was living in, and things like that. So it was just like, I went on a visit to Tennessee Tech, and it was just different, man. I had never been around that many white people. It was a lot more chill. It was like the country, so it was like no partying, no trouble, no gangs, it was just, in my mind, it was just like, I can get away from all of this and just really focus on school and, get this job done of graduating from college.
Did you get a scholarship there? Like, how did you even find it? I mean, Chicago is like a real city, and I mean, I know we all know Cookeville because Rich lives there. But like, how do you tell me a little more details about that? So you're in Chicago, you're going to City College. Are you living with relatives, or you have your own place?
No, I got my own place. I got a full ride scholarship to play at the junior college in Chicago.
Oh wow!
And yeah, so to go back, basically after high school, I wanted to go play Division I ball like any other athlete, and I had pretty good grades. I graduated with like a 3.2, 3.4 GPA, and so I could get into any Division I, but the Division I that I wanted to go to, or that I was getting recruited to, he was an assistant coach at Creighton, and he got the head coaching job at the junior college. And so I just followed him because he was a familiar face and someone that had been recruiting me for a while. So that's how I got to the junior college. And I got there, and we just did really well as a team. We broke all the records in the school, went to the state 2 years in a row, and we just had a lot of recognition. So a lot of schools were recruiting us and coming on board to kind of find athletes. And out of all the schools that I had recruiting me, Tennessee Tech was just the one that I felt like was just quiet. It was just a different was just drastically different from any other school. Most of the other schools were in cities, bigger cities, predominantly black cities, and it was just like, I need something different. And my AAU coach was the one that kind of pushed me to go to Tennessee Tech due to a friend of hers and another coach that had been recruiting me for a couple years.
What was that acronym you used? AEU? What's that stand for?
AAU basketball. AAU basketball travel team.
Oh, okay. So you were good in high school. Were you the best player on your team?
Absolutely. In high school, yeah.
and did your siblings play basketball? How did you get into basketball?
Same kind of scenario. It was a loyalty thing. I was actually known going into high school. I was known for football, and one of my coaches was supposed to get an assistant job at a high school, and I was going to go play for him at that high school, and he didn't get the job. And so I said, I'm not playing football anymore, and I started playing basketball. And just started playing basketball. Was always good at it, but started taking it seriously when I got to high school.
And then, and was Chicago tough? Like where you live, was it a rough town?
Yeah, Chicago was rough. Chicago was drastically, like, I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and we have a pretty big population, and Columbus was rough, but Chicago was rough because I didn't know anyone. Like, I wasn't known. Like, it was that kind of rough where it's just like, no one can save me or nothing. No one knows me if I get into something. It's just I'm on my own.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Chicago a handful of times, and my parents met in Evanston, Illinois. I think that's just right outside of Chicago.
Yeah, that's north. He was spent time on the south when he was in school.
And I'm trying to think, what's the school in Evanston? It's a big school.
Northwestern, yeah, it's in the Big Ten.
Okay, I think my mom went to school there. My dad did seminary school in high school in Lebanon. That was the only high school there was, so he had to go to seminary school. And then somehow, I think through some church program, then he got moved to Evanston, Illinois at the age of 18 years old. He was the oldest of 9. And then my parents met, and then they eloped and came to California. But the only stories I know about Chicago are, my dad said it was rough. He said, like, he would tell me crazy stories about how rough it was. And then and he came from a rough place too, right? And so, but now Chicago's in the news every day, only known for one thing, right? It's not the home of the tallest building in the world like it was when I was a kid. Now it's just all you hear about is shootings. And I mean, I know the news glorifies that shit, but I mean, even when I used to live in Berkeley, which is right in between Oakland and Richmond, and they would be talking about shootings every day, but I never saw it. Like, when you live there, it's kind of like I never saw any of that stuff. So I never know what to believe from the news. But obviously it's happening to someone, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I never. I try to stay away from as much of that as possible. But I mean, the areas we were in, we were outside in the south suburbs, which was, I guess, just as rough as the city due to, a lot of gang relations moving out that way, out of the city. So we try to stay out the way as much as possible. But I mean, you saw a lot of it and was around a lot of it.
When you're going to school, is it easy to stay away from that stuff because you're staying busy? Like, it seems like sports has always been an avenue of, if you keep your kid busy, especially a young man between the age of, 14 and 30. I mean, that's the goal, right? Keep young men busy, so that what's the phrase? The devil gives idle hands work, or something like that.
You're close.
I mean, were you? Tell me, Brian. Unfuck me. What did I say? What did the devil say? Or what is the statement?
I think I'm only going to be close to it. It's like the idle time is the devil's toolbox, or something like that.
Was it easy to stay away when you were in college? Like, were you disciplined and have good habits, and you were like, Was it easy to stay away?
I'm not gonna get into too much detail. It was around you. It was there. You know, it's like you can. I don't know. It was there, man. It was like you can't get away from it, but you don't want to engage in it too much. But it's just kind of like, don't act like it's not there.
Did you ever miss a practice?
No, never missed practice. Never missed a practice. Never missed a game.
You got a cold, you go to practice. You don't feel good, you go to practice.
No matter what. You go to practice.
Did you drink in college?
No, didn't drink at all. I started drinking.
So you never even had.
After I pledged in my fraternity my senior year, I drank a little bit. I had probably like a 3-month window where I would go to a couple parties and drink sometimes. But other than that, nah, I stayed away from drinking.
In your senior year, you did in Cookeville?
Yeah, I did in Cookeville.
And were you raised with religion in the household, with God in the household?
Yeah. My father was a minister in the church and a minister in the Nation of Islam. And my mother was very invested in the church. She worked in the church pretty much all my life.
It's so interesting. So your dad was a minister in the Nation of Islam. It's so I don't know what's wrong with my brain, but when I was 16 years old, I moved into a neighborhood. It's kind of interesting. We kind of did the same thing. I moved into a neighborhood where my dad and my stepmom and I were the only white people. It was all black people and just us. And very quickly, I just started consuming every single book I could find, like from Martin Luther King to Nelson Mandela. I'm a 16-year-old kid. Bobby Seale, Huey Newton, Angela Davis. The Malcolm X, Alex Haley's Malcolm X had a massive transformative effect on my life. I got the Malcolm X shirt. I've told this story a bunch of times, but I can't remember if I had 1 or 2 or 3 shirts, but basically they were always in the wash because it was the only shirt I wanted to wear, you know. And of course I know who Elijah Muhammad was, but until, I don't know, a couple months ago, I never made the connection. I was like, oh shit, he's named after the leader of the Nation of Islam. Yeah. It's so funny when I met you. And another thing is I know a lot of people call you Easy, but for some reason I always just call you Elijah. But so your parents did name you after the leader of the Nation of Islam. He was the second leader, right? After the founder?
Yeah. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that's who they named me after, who was known as the prophet, the Messiah, the messenger of Allah.
Have you met him?
No, he's not alive.
When he was alive?
No, I didn't meet him.
Oh, because he died in 1975 and you were born after that.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to be named after him? I guess you are. I guess like Mexicans call people they name their kids Jesus.
Yeah.
For some reason, always that seems like that's like putting a ton of stress on the kid.
My parents actually got permission from Minister Louis Farrakhan to name me Elijah Muhammad.
Holy shit, that is awesome!
I just found that out like a couple years ago, I think, or like a year ago.
This next question is going to be a really weird question, but bear with me here. Do you know what child Elijah Muhammad was in his family? What number child he was?
No, I don't.
I would be very, very curious. Brian,
Brian,
to
you
see
on it?
If he had.
Yeah. Let's see if
Brian,
we can find it.
that's the second guest in a row who's bossing you around. Second guest in a row. First Medeiros, now Elijah Muhammad. I asked that because there's a gentleman named you've obviously heard of Krishna, and there's a gentleman named Krishnamurti who was born in India, and he was the last child, and he eventually came to the United States, and he was the last child born in his family, and I can't remember what number child he was, 6, 7, or 8, but Krishna was also the 6th, 7th, or 8th child, and so they named him Krishnamurti. And anyway, he ended up coming to the United States, and people believed he was the living incarnation, you know.
Are you ready?
Another prophet. Yeah.
7 out of 13.
Oh,
7 out of 13.
you ain't got shit on him, Elijah.
Nope.
13. Holy
13.
shit. Wow.
Oh man, I would have
He
had
had
13.
eight
I wonder
kids.
why
My
you're-
wife
He had
was up
8
to it.
kids himself.
When your parents were when they had their first child, were they involved with the Nation of Islam? I'm wondering why they waited till their 6th or 7th child. You're number 6, right? The
Yeah.
last of 6.
They were in the
I wonder
church.
why they.
My father was a preacher
Okay.
in the church first, and then from the stories that I know, he wanted to study world history, and in order to study world history, he had to engulf himself in actual history and learn more of cultures. And so he went to I want to say it was like Jerusalem. He went to Israel to study, and when he got back, he got in touch with the Nation of Islam, started to study more of their beliefs and their cultures. And as he started to learn more about it, he basically just tied in and identified with exactly what they were preaching and speaking to him. So that's why he went into the Nation of Islam. But at first he was just a pastor in the church. He owned his own church, and he wanted to finish his schooling and his degrees in world history, and he just took on that journey and that path to learn more about exactly what was going on in different cultures and countries and stuff like that.
It's interesting. My dad was a history major in college also, and also went to seminary school. That's.
I don't know if you
bit
know
of a-
this, Sevan, but I double majored in history and theology, and I studied them because they went so well together.
Do you own? Are you going to become a minister?
I've thought about it.
Not in that sense, no.
Oh,
Oh yeah. How about Elijah? Are you going to become a minister? I wasn't even going to ask you. Would you do that? Take that route?
Yeah, I've thought about it in some shape, forms.
There's on your Instagram. There's a very consistent message. I forget what the slogan is, but basically, what is the slogan you have? Keep the vibes positive, or keep the energy positive, or
Always
what was that?
positive energy.
Always positive energy. And you know what? Every time I stop to see that, it made me feel better.
That's good, man.
Yeah,
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
man, this is a good practice. It's one of those things that you read, and it's like always a good thing to read. So and how did your parents meet? Did they meet in the church?
They met, yes, in the church. My mother, her father was a pastor, and yeah, it's funny, man. It's a funny story, man. I don't even know. I just found this out too. My mother's first husband's mother introduced my mom to my father.
The mother-in-law.
So yeah, my mother's husband's mom, the mother-in-law, basically was like, my son's a piece of crap. You don't need to deal with him anymore. I'm gonna introduce you to this guy. And so she was living with her ex-husband's mother, and he introduced her to my father.
Wow.
Because she was just like, my son's not going to change, and you don't need him anymore. And she introduced him to my father, and they hit it off.
She's a good lady.
Yeah.
Are your parents still alive?
Yes, both of them are. My mom's in L.A.
Awesome. Oh, okay. And where's your dad?
D.C.
Wow. Oh man, that's a lot of traveling. Do you get to see them much?
No, I'll get to see my dad coming up here in September for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, you have 4 kids.
Yep.
And what are their ages?
4, 5, 7, and 12.
Oh, holy cow! I was thinking about this morning in the shower. Sorry, but I was thinking that there's something probably that we have in common. When there's some people who you meet and they're like, they have 1 kid or they have 2 kids, and they let you know that they're really happy with their 1 kid or their 2 kids, and they're just cool with that. And then I don't want to say that I'm jealous or envious, but when I see, and I'm not even sure if proud is the word, but I'm proud that I have 3 kids, and when I see someone who has 4 kids, I'm a little bit, I wish I could think of a better word, jealous or envious. And same thing with when I have 5 kids, see someone with 5 kids or 6 kids or 7 kids. And I would guess you're the same way, that if it were like in a perfect world, you would have 20 kids, that you just seem cut from the same cloth as me like that. Like basically you want that experience. Like,
Yeah, 100%. If my wife was up to continue to reproduce and have more kids, we would have more kids.
yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I think, and thank God they put brakes on us, right? My wife tells me, she says, you better not fuck around. I'll give you triplets. And I'm like, I'll take them. 3 girls to match these 3 boys. I'm ready.
Yeah, right.
And it's interesting because why do you think you want so many kids? Why do you think you like kids so much? What do you think you like about it?
I don't know, man. It's like the hybrid. It's like the hybrid between not having a father and having a mother that was very nurturing. And then like I always tell people, like I always jokingly say, like, I think I'm cool as shit. Like I just think I'm cool. So like to have another little me would be cool. And if we can just continue to populate the world with just dope ass me's, I think, we're looking at a better place soon. And yeah, so that's just it, man. It's just like the process of the child as they start to develop and learn and different things. It's just so intriguing. Or it's just like they learn so differently, they pick up things so differently, they react so differently. And I don't know. I just like I told my wife, like, a crying baby has never bothered me. Like it's never, I've never gotten like enraged, like, oh, this baby stop crying. It's just kind of like, how can I serve you? Like, how can I help you? Like, what do you need from me? And I will continue to figure it out. I will continue to try to figure it out. And I've just always been intrigued by the patience that I have just with a child in general, like with my children. So I don't know. There's so many things that make me just would continue to have children.
There's this there's a deeper story than this, but I'll give you the shallow version. It's not the car alarm going off outside your bedroom window at 3 a.m. that's bothering you. It's the story you're telling yourself about it.
That's
and
cool.
I think that's one of the big problems in our societies is that people really they conflate their thoughts with the outside world a lot. Like they think that their thoughts are reality. They think the horn actually is bad, or that the crying baby actually is bad, and they haven't taken the personal responsibility or accountability to tell themselves, hey, it's the story you tell yourself. And man, you've told yourself a different story about the crying baby, and
Yeah.
it's so awesome. Like,
Yeah.
and then you nailed the exact same reason why I like kids, except I don't know how cool I think I am, although I really enjoy being alone. But I love watching them grow.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I love watching plants grow. I love watching kids grow. You're right. You said it's intriguing. It's fucking fascinating. And they grow every single day, and they grow right in front of you. Like plants, you have to go to sleep and wake up and look at them the next day to be like, oh, the flower opened. But kids, it's like, holy shit, I just saw. It's like time-lapse photography. You're like watching them grow right in front of you. It's mind-boggling.
If I can be very, very upfront, honest, like out of all the stuff you post on social media that I'm just like, oh, here he goes again, that I am kind of intrigued about watching and stuff like that, I just genuinely enjoy what you do with your kids and how deeply and passionately you speak about parenting.
Thank you.
It's just like,
thank you.
Regardless of what else comes into play or what else is around, it's like that one thing is attracting. So it's just like, no, I'm not I'm not looking at Sevan's page because he made this post and people are arguing with him about this. But it's like, this one thing is super cool, and I'm a dad too, and I can identify with that. And I genuinely enjoy seeing your kids and how you just raise them. Honestly, it's just whatever that looks like. It's just pretty cool to me, and it's cool.
I try to keep I try to separate my shit, so I try to keep my feed, the stuff that's permanent, the more kid-centric stuff, and then all the stuff that's just the social drama, I try to keep in the story. But now you don't have to see any of it, Elijah, because I'm shadow banned as fuck. So you don't have to see any of it. So 4 kids. You're and do you travel a lot still?
No, after COVID, it slowed down drastically. It's picking back up now, but just due to the policies on travel and all the restrictions, I've just been kind of chilling. So I've been traveling a little bit, but not as much as before COVID.
So you're loving the COVID response kind of in the same way I am. It's like a free vacation to hang out with your kids.
Yeah. I mean, like, I just kick it, man. I don't do much. If I'm not getting paid, I'm just like, I'm not moving. Like, there's no reason to go anywhere. There's no reason to travel.
That's exactly how I am. It's crazy. Do you know Travis Bajent?
I do not.
He was a commentator back in the day for the CrossFit Games. Big old guy, shaved head. He was the professional arm wrestler. Yeah. So he has 4 kids, and he had kids younger than me. He had them like when you had them. And whenever I would travel with him, all he wanted to do was get back home and be with his kids. And it was so weird because I didn't understand that at all. But now I'm like, oh, I totally get it. Like if I'm not getting paid, if I'm not doing something to bring something like bread back to the family, I'm not leaving. Yeah, there's no way.
That's how I've always been, man. It's just, my kids are usually like, they're not with me right now because they're in camp. But like normally my kids are with me from when they wake up to when they go to sleep, unless they're in school. But other than that, they're with me all day. So it just becomes a routine where it's just like I get to interact with them, hang out with them, work out with them, just randomly go play in the creek with them. So when I'm traveling and I'm gone, it's just like, if this isn't actually benefiting the family while I'm gone, there's no need for me to be going.
Yep, I feel you. So you go to Cookeville, you go there to play basketball, you're there, and how's it go there? Do you start when you go there?
No, my junior year I didn't start. I was a 6th man. I probably started like maybe 10, 12 games out of the season, but I wasn't the number 1 starting point guard until my senior year.
And then you play your senior year, and then what was the goal after that? Was it to go to the NBA?
I wanted to play pro ball. So crazy story, man. I wanted to play pro ball, and I was dead set on like, I'm gonna play professional basketball. And when I started getting some of the contracts that people make overseas and how much they make, in my mind I was like, I can make this doing some bullshit. Like, I can make this doing nothing. So do I really want to play basketball? And so after weighing that, I was like, I really do want to play basketball. It's the only thing I love. But it didn't make sense to take my family overseas with me with the amount of money that I would be making. And so I had my daughter my senior year, and it was like, okay, leave my child and my wife here, go overseas and play ball so that we can make money. But at the same time, it was like, I can't imagine waking up and not being with my kids. Like, I can't imagine like weeks on end not seeing my kid. So I was just like, okay, this basketball thing isn't going to work. On the flip side, I got a contract to go overseas and play basketball. We're sitting down talking about this contract, and my coach says, in the conversation, he says, there'll be a translator there for you. And I was like, translator? And he was like, yeah, like everyone won't speak English. And instantly I was like, okay, fuck that. If no one speaks English, I'm not going to a place where they can't understand me. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, that's a sign of disaster. Like, I'm gonna get murdered. And so I just was like, I got to figure something out. And so I went and got like a little job at this like cleaning place, and Chip Pugh brought me on staff as a strength coach. And I said, okay, this is it. I could be a strength coach. This is a career job. I had looked up all of the high school, collegiate, and professional levels of strength coaches, how much they get paid. And I told my wife, I said, you know what, I'll be a professional strength coach. Give me 5 years. Give me 5 years, and I'll find a way to become a professional strength coach. And so I just took over strength and conditioning.
And so you met your wife your junior year?
I met my wife my freshman year in college when I was in Chicago.
Oh, wow. And so you stayed together when you went to Cookeville?
Yeah. I asked her, funny story, she's going to laugh when she hears this. I asked her, I was like, hey, I'm going to college. I'm leaving schools. So whatever school you want to go to, you can pick, because I can play basketball anywhere. I just want you to be comfortable if you're going to come with me. And I was like, I really like this Tennessee Tech school. I think I'm going to go here. And I told her straight up, like, if you don't come with me, this relationship will not work. If you are not beside me, this is not going to work. So if you want to be with me, you probably need to come to Tennessee. She told me no with a straight face. Like, go, no. I was like, no, like no, the hell she didn't just tell me no. Like, send me to Tennessee by my damn self. I was like, nope. And then a few months later, she moved down there.
And then and so was she in one of your classes in City College, and you just sat next to her and like, hey, yo, I'm Elijah, let's go out?
No, I met her at the club. We were at a club.
Oh, okay.
And, it was a group of girls.
The old-fashioned way.
Oh yeah, it was a group of girls. They used to always be at the club, and I used to tell my friends, like, I'm gonna get one of these girls, one of them. I don't know which one, but they all sexy as hell. They all know how to dance. I'm gonna get one of them, and we could never get any of them. And then one random night, one of my friends approached her and asked her for her phone number. Got her phone number, and she told him, like, hey, you know, I know I gave you my number, but I'm interested in your friend. You know, I know y'all. They knew who we were, because we always tried to talk to these girls. Like, every weekend we saw them, we were trying to talk to them, hit on them, and get them to come back to the house and kick it with us and party. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they just would shut us down all the time. So they knew us, who we were, but they didn't really know who we were, because we were from out of town. And so,
and the more they shut you down, the more you liked them. You're like, these must be good girls.
The more you wanted to go for it, man. So now, then he got her phone number, and he was like, she said she wants you to call her. And I was like, bullshit. And so called her. She ended up living around the corner from me, and it was just like, boom. It was within 2 months she was living with me. Yeah, it was like, it was quick. It just moved fast.
Do her parents like you?
At first they didn't. Just so happened, I didn't meet her parents for like 6 months. Now, mind you, I live in Columbus, Ohio. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. She had been to Columbus, met my mother, met my sisters, met my family. I live around the corner from her father, her mother. I had never met these people. This woman is now living with me. She's living with me, moved in, and I still hadn't met her parents. She would not introduce me to her parents, and I thought it was so weird. And then her stepfather found out that my name was Elijah Muhammad, and her mother was in the Nation of Islam, and he was. And once he found out my name was Elijah Muhammad, it intrigued him so much for him to try to meet me. And I just thought it was BS. I'm like, oh, you didn't want to meet me before, but now you find out who I am, and now you want to meet me. So after about 5-6 months, I ended up meeting her family and all her parents and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool. And now everything's great. You love your in-laws?
Yeah. Oh yeah. My in-laws are dope, man. That's why we moved to Iowa, to be closer to my mother-in-law.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was eventually my question. And so the grandparents are in your kid's life?
Yes. My wife's parents are in my kid's life. My mother is in LA, And so we don't get to see her much because I usually travel to LA by myself and spend time with my mom. Probably 3 times a year I'll travel to see my mom. And the kids don't get to see her as much, but she just retired, so we're hoping to change that and get the kids around her a little bit more. But I don't have a relationship with my father, so I don't know if they'll ever meet my father, just unless he comes here. We just started talking this year, so this year I opened up the door to just get my whole family together. So we get on weekly calls or monthly calls, me and all my siblings and my mother and father, just to talk and kind of get to know each other. And hopefully my father will get to meet his grandkids before he passed or anything like that happens.
You initiated that? You're like that's your idea to get the family together on a call?
Yeah. I just as I was getting older, I was just like, who the fuck am I? Like, I don't even know anyone from my father's side. I don't know anything about them, and I was just like, man, it sucks when you hear these stories of people talking about their grandparents and this and that, and then people just dropping their kids off at grandma's house and taking the week off, and it's just like, yeah, that's never happened with me. Since my kids have been born, they've had me and they've been with me. So it just got to a point where I was like, all right, I need to just open that door and just make sure it stays open. And so I just called my mom and told her, like, hey, I talked to my dad and talked to my brother, and can we just figure something out where we can talk once a month and just see each other once a month, because we're all getting older, and I would hate for something to happen and my kids never know that I had a brother, or never know that they never met their grandfather.
One person is going to hear this at least and be inspired by that and do that. I guarantee it. Sorry, I got to ask more questions about this. So did any of your siblings or your parents be like, are you fucking crazy? I'm not doing that.
Nah, nobody really said no, they're not doing that. I called my brother. So I called my oldest sister, because my sister is the oldest of all the siblings.
Real quick, one thing before you continue. Sorry. Because I get along with everyone in my family, and if they asked me to do that, I'd be like, I would have all sorts of, like, not for any good reasons, but like I'd dig my feet in the sand. You know what I mean? Like there would just be something about it I would have an instantaneous reaction to. But it's okay. So sorry. Go ahead.
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Hold on.
So you could.
Hold on 1 second.
Do you think he has to pee? His kids aren't home, so I know he's not going to like save someone from hanging off the side of the roof.
Where do you think I went when I got up?
Wait. Oh, I didn't even see you got off.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't even see you got off.
It started.
One other time.
It started downpouring here, and the windows were all open. So first of all, they can come in. Second of all, it was loud. So I was like, I gotta go close these windows. I didn't even notice. Thank you.
Yeah. That's the second time that I think there was one other time you told me that you got off or something, and I'm like, what? I didn't even notice. Do you notice every time I get off? I guess you wouldn't notice if you didn't notice.
No,
so you don't know.
Yeah, of course I notice, because you're, driving the show, generally speaking. But that thing that he did with his family is, honestly, it's getting me thinking a little bit, because my family's pretty well dispersed also and doesn't talk too much.
I like the story of him getting his family together because it makes me feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? As soon as he said that, like I picture it happening to me, and I start squirming in my seat and shit. I'm like, all right, let's figure this thing out.
Yeah. So
are you having a party at your house? It's a little early for a party.
No, I'm at the gym.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're having a party at the gym.
Yeah. I contacted my sister, and I just started asking her all the questions that I needed to know, like the backstories, my childhood, what happened, why are my parents not together, why don't I talk to my brother, where's dad at, all this stuff. And my sister was just basically breaking down the whole family history to me, because she's the oldest sibling, so she's seen the most and been through the most. And once I got information from her, and then contacted my other sister, and then contacted my brother, and then contacted my other sisters, and talked to my mother, and talked to my father. So I just started talking to everybody one-on-one and just opened the door. And then I just needed to know information, because I was just like, I don't know y'all. Like, I haven't talked to y'all. Like, I haven't seen y'all. And the base of it, everything was like, how do I get in touch and communicate with my father? Like, how do I like clear the air to let him know, like, hey, like what's happened. Like, I don't care. Like, I just want to know what happened. I want to know the truth. And I mean, we can move on. Like, we could start from here. Like, you know, like I'm cool with it. So it was just getting that information. And once everybody started chatting and talking and everything came up, it was just like, yo, why don't we just link up? Like, why aren't we talking? Like, why do I have a brother and we know nothing about each other and we don't talk? Like, why do I have a father and you don't even hit me up to say, hey, how you doing? Or comment on a Facebook post or like whatever. It was just weird. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was just like, I need to figure out some things about myself. And the only way I'm going to do that is to know where I come from and my past of why I behave or act a certain way or respond to certain things in certain manners. And it all came through, you know, figuring those things out. And so now we just hop on the call once a month to just catch up with everybody and make sure everybody's okay and figure out how we're all going to link up so that we can see each other.
You can take the 100,000-foot view of this with like just no judgment and just be like, holy shit, what a cool thing you're doing to stimulate your life. Not good, not bad. Like, think of what you're doing to yourself, the input you're putting in. You know what I mean? Like, it's so freaking awesome what you're doing as long as you don't like get caught in the drama. And it sounds like you're above it all, because like you can't find out like, hey, my dad left me because he was beating me and then judge him. You have to be like, okay. Or maybe even thank him. You have to have like these fresh eyes, like if you want to continue to nurture the stimulus, right? Like you have to be ready to do what you did. You can't be like introducing people into your life just so you can fucking yell at them for something bad they did to you when you were 12, right? I mean, that's not the goal, right? I mean, it's some big boy shit you're doing. It's like, it's awesome. And are you getting stimulated as all get out from it? Are you getting tons of like neural connections and like,
good and bad, you know, like, you know, stimulating in good and bad ways where it's just kind of like, it's tough to hear certain things. It's tough to, it's hard to find that understanding when certain things come up. But it's also nurturing and it feels good because it's not as bad as your mind made it to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, your mind can really, really fuck with you, man. Like on, certain things, and you know, when you find out the truth, it's just kind of like, oh, it wasn't that bad, like it was, or it wasn't because of me, or it wasn't this, or you know, whatever, you know, your mind has created the story that you didn't know. So it plays both ways, but all in all, it's good. It's good just to know, and good just to have that open door in that relationship.
An example I like to use for what one of the like growing up is like is when you're 10 years old, when you're a 10-year-old boy, if you found out that your dad cheated on your mom, you'd hate your dad. Then as a 25-year-old man, you might be like, okay, I get it. That dudes are dudes, and it's like it's a tough thing to funnel. And then as maybe like a 40-year-old man now with 3 kids, it's not that you go back to saying, hey, that was fucked up what my dad is, but you flip the script again in even a more mature way, like, yeah, he shouldn't have done it, but I have compassion for it, because now now your kids are your number one priority, and the goal is to keep your home stable, right? Like at all costs.
Yeah, for sure.
And you got to have strong, healthy, happy mama for it. So it's fascinating how the same story can go from hating your dad to thinking it's okay to then going back to like, hey, not that my dad did that, at least not that I know of, but I just use that kind of as an example of like what a maturing man. And then in your final phase, you're like, hey, it wasn't the right thing to do, but I have some understanding of it.
Yeah.
It's and who knows what it'll be when I'm 65. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll go back and be like, damn, you should have nailed everyone in the room. You only live once, but I don't know. So you have your first kid really young. Are you scared to death?
No, I was super ready, man. Super ready. I knew I was gonna have kids young. Like that was a given. The way I was fucking, I mean, like I don't know about anyone else, but I enjoyed sex. Like, I enjoyed having sex with my wife and my woman and stuff like that. So I knew it was just a matter of time before we have a kid. Now, on the flip side, she didn't want kids.
Wow.
So yeah, so that was the shocker when we had a kid. I was like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, this is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be a new experience. It's gonna be fun. And she was just kind of like, she has a really good mom, so she knows what it's like to have a really good parent or mother. So it wasn't that
Right.
she was scared of being a bad mom. She was just scared because my wife was all about her. She was she was the youngest girl of the family too, and so she was technically the baby for a long time. And she was just all about her. Like, you know what I'm saying? What do I want to do, and where do I want to go in life? And so she was like, if I have a kid, this is gonna just offset everything about me. And so her not wanting a kid was more just selfish, just because, like, I just wanted it to be about me. And I knew I wanted a kid super early. I used to tell my girlfriend in high school, like, if you got pregnant, we straight. Like, you got me, so you ain't got to worry about nothing else. Okay?
Oh, you're your parents' nightmare, Elijah.
I am, man.
And how long? So you've been with you've been with your wife for 12 years. You guys have been a couple for 12 years.
Yeah, 13 years together. 2007 we met. We started dating in 2007. So 13, 14 years we've been dating. We've been married for 10.
Do you think, where do you rank your relationship with your wife in terms of your achievements? Like when I think of my wife, I'm like, it's my greatest achievement in life. This relationship, like, if it went away, like, I don't even think I would ever try to have another one. Like, if something happened, God forbid, to me or my wife, it would be like I was retiring from, like, the Super Bowl. Like, every day, I'm like, holy shit, this is the crowning achievement. Do you see a relationship like that?
I would
Like, in
see
terms
it
of
more-
how close you are, what you've done together, what you've created, the obstacles you've overcome. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I would look at it as I think we've overcome every obstacle. I don't think there's nothing that that can break us but us, if that makes sense.
yeah.
And
It's
in
been
terms-
forth and long a lot of times in your relationship,
Yeah,
right? And you're like,
for sure.
but you guys drove it into the end zone, and you're like, holy shit, another
For
fourth
sure.
down completion.
And
Yeah.
so when it comes to marriage, it's just like it's that never-ending, like, journey. It's like CrossFit. It's just like, I can get better. I can get better. Like, I can. This is another obstacle. Like, I can get better at this. Or, you know, she wants this from me. Okay, I can work on this. So it's just super cool in the aspect of thinking, like, there's always something to get better at or to work on. And I think that's what always intrigued me with CrossFit, where it was just like, there's always something. Like, yeah, so, like, as far as in terms of me and her, it's just always been like, I know the one person that will never, ever leave me hanging. And, like, I'm 100% sure on that. Like, no matter what it looks like or what's happening, I know that woman will never leave me hanging. She will always find a way to support and help, or to drive me in the right direction, even if it may seem like she's not driving. Like, even if it may seem like she's not on board with some things, like, in the long term, she's always there to support. So, marriage has been. Go ahead.
If I may give a little commentary on that for people who are listening, might be thinking, "Oh, what a great wife he has," but what I hear is what a great mindset Easy has, because he is. I believe the same thing about my wife also, but it's my mindset. It doesn't, like, I've set her up. I have to have that mindset. Sorry to use such a cheesy term, but she's my ride or die in my head no matter what. So there's two ways to think of this. Some people will be like, think that she really is that person, but you also have to remember that's Easy's mindset. It has nothing to do with her. He holds her in his mind like that, and that's the way I hold my wife too. Yeah, it's my...
Yeah, I always tell people, like, explaining marriage is hard because it's like, I don't know, it's hard to, like, explain. Like, when people say, like, oh, I want to be married, it's just like, whew, all right, like, okay, like, you know, like, get ready, like, you know, like, it's just, get ready for it. It's just the same way when it's like, oh, I want to have kids. It's like, when you're dealing with another human that close and that intimate, it's just hard to actually explain it. Like, it's hard to actually give you what I guess you're looking for in the context of, like, you're talking about I'm bonding with another human on a level that I will never bond with someone else. Like, I love this human more than I will ever love something else. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, how do you really explain that? Like, I try to, but I don't know if I can really explain that for you.
One of the interesting things is I feel, did something happen with the audio? Can you hear us, Easy? Uh-oh, we lost Easy.
He's muted, so that's why that background noise stopped. He can still hear us, though.
That was a nice organic hum. I'd gotten used to it. Oh, God, I wonder how that's going to be in the final publication of this. Maybe his headphones went out. His kids took his headphones back. I
know, right? Listen, they got my...
How did those even fit your big old head?
This little headphones from school.
I don't believe you, Easy. Those are yours. Hey, Easy, I'm like so my own person, and I'm so rooted in who I am. I'm almost impossible to move. But if my wife, the slightest thing happens to her, I feel it. Like, she stubs her toe or she wakes up in a bad mood. It's so crazy because I'm so impervious to the rest of the world. But you're right. You don't realize that, like, when you're yourself, you're responsible for all your own emotions. But when you're married, like, if they're not having a good day, man, like, or you're not, like, you kind of, and you also owe it to them, right, to always, like, deal with your shit quickly or in a good, healthy way, because they're going to feel your shit. It's almost like you're like those twins in the cartoons where you punch one and the other one feels it. You know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. If you have a strong relationship, it can get crazy. You're like, damn, my wife just got punched in the face, but my nose is bleeding. So it's So, what did she think of Cookeville? Well, you said you moved there and it was like crazy white. I'm trying to think of when I visited there. I don't really remember much. I remember the inside of the gym and it just being just tons of dudes, just like you said, working out. It was basically you guys, the CrossFit team, and then the football team. Every time I was there, just getting at it. But what did she think of Cookeville? Was she okay with the demographic?
She was all right with it. She didn't enjoy it. She wanted to get out of there as quickly as possible. So, I mean, our plan was to get out of there sooner or later, just because she wanted to live in a city. And she's like one of those, like, I want to live in a condo with a lot of traffic and, you know, loud noises. And I want to go up to my rooftop and be able to, like, not talk to anyone but watch everyone. Like, you know, like, I want my own, like, garden just right outside my window. Like, she likes to be in her own element, and you know, that city was too small. It just wasn't what she was vibing for. So I knew we were going to get out of there. I just didn't know how long it was going to be.
Do you remember the? Do you remember when we came out there? When my wife made a video with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so funny because last night when you posted it a long time ago, but last night I was going through it and I'm watching the video and I'm like, God, this looks so familiar. And then all of a sudden I heard Haley asking you a question and I'm like, oh shit, it's Haley's video. So I tagged her in it. But it's like a post from, like, I don't know, 5 years ago.
She was the only one that thought I was relevant at the time. I couldn't get you or Dave Castro's attention. They were like, that kid's not. We're not gonna keep the camera on him.
You probably sweet talked her. She was there like probably, and you probably sweet talked her.
Can I get a couple minutes on your microphone, ma'am?
So we met there, and that was 2012. And so then you train there for 2 years. And what ends up being, did you end up getting, the story I heard is that you got a job with High Temp, and that's why you eventually left Cookeville. Is that what happened?
No, that wasn't exactly what happened. So in 2012, we were going to basically, CrossFit Cookeville, we were basically going to close the class down. We had a morning class and an afternoon class, in which I worked both of them to make up the money that I needed to make in order to just, make sure I'm all right. And we were going to close the morning class, I think it was, or maybe the afternoon class. I can't remember. We were going to close one of the classes. And so I said, if we close one of the classes, that cuts my check in half. I don't get paid enough. Like, I got to figure something out. And when I had the talk with Coach Pugh, he asked me, like, do you think we're having issues with CrossFitters and the athletes that go to Tennessee Tech? And I said, respectfully and honestly, yes. It's a confusion because they feel like this is their gym when it's not their gym. It's the athletes' gym, but CrossFitters are here when athletes are here. And he's like, yeah, like, this is their facility, and we might have to close the class. And so at that time, I was like, well, if we close the class, like we're living off of the CrossFit money I make in strength and conditioning. So I was like, all right, I don't know what I'm going to do other than I got to go get a job, which means I can't coach classes, or I can't train as much, or I'm not a strength coach. And so at that time, I had a birthday party in Nashville, and met a couple CrossFitters down there. And one of them said they were opening a gym, and they're looking for a head coach. They're looking for someone to run the gym. And so at that time, I basically was like, this might be an opportunity for us to get to Nashville, a bigger city. This might be an opportunity for us to make more money. And this might be an opportunity for me to really put in the time in CrossFit, just doing CrossFit. And CrossFit Cookeville was soon to basically close one class, or maybe have to close down. And so I moved to Nashville with the intentions that CrossFit Cookeville was basically either going away or just downsizing its class schedule. And so I took the job, and after regionals of 2012, I moved down to Nashville.
You're on mute, Sevan.
You're on mute.
So the way you were saying that, am I getting the impression that you left, but they ended up not closing it down? So you left for no reason?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how it felt, kind of. It's not that I left for no reason. I mean, we wanted to get to a city anyway. We wanted to get to a city. We didn't know when, but when I left, Mayhem opened up, and I didn't know. It wasn't until I basically told the gym that I was moving down there, and then me and Rich had the talk that Mayhem was opening up. Yeah, it just kind of ended up sucking in a way where it was just like, well, if Mayhem was opening up, I would have worked at Mayhem, right. Just due to what was going on.
And you guys were very,
Go ahead.
And you guys were very, very close, right? Like, at least when I was there, it was like, I'm trying to think who the three people were. If it was you, him, and Darren. But when I was there, it was like, I think I went there 2 times, and it was like you guys were always together.
Yeah, me and Frony. Yeah, I mean, we were super tight. We're super tight. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my brother, and I was the guy that I just, looked up to, trained with, to, get fitter and better. And, yeah, we were bros. That was my boy. Still is. I mean, to this day,
So you go to Nashville, and then from Nashville, is that when where is High Temp where you went after Nashville?
Yeah, so after Nashville, then I went to High Temp in Alabama and worked at High Temp.
And they make weights, right?
Yeah. Yep. They manufacture bumper plates.
And I remember when I heard that. I don't remember if I heard it from you, but when I heard you got that gig, I was super duper excited for you. I was thinking, holy shit, what a great place to go! Because at that time, High Temp couldn't even keep the demand up, right? There was just such a huge demand for bumper plates.
Oh my goodness, it was crazy, man. It was super crazy. But yeah, when I got down there, it was a phenomenal job. That's probably the High Temp was probably working for Chuck was probably the best like guy that I've ever worked for or just been around in a certain sense. I met some really close people that I'm still close with in Alabama.
Chuck's the owner of High Temp?
Yeah, Chuck Rumbley.
And wow, that's cool. So you were stoked when you got there.
Yeah, man, that was huge. That was a huge time in my life. Yeah, and it was a fun time because I qualified for the games, and I kept getting closer and closer to qualifying, and then I qualified there, and on top of that, I just had everything I needed.
And then from there, where did you go?
And then there, I went to Vegas. So I left Alabama, went to Vegas, and I was in Vegas for about a year and a half, I think. I want to say 2016.
And how many kids did you have then?
By the time I got to Vegas, I had all 4. I had my last one in Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had
and why did you go to Vegas?
So I got a job opportunity in Vegas.
Dancing? Were you dancing? Chippendales?
I would still be there, man. Look at me. I got a job opportunity at a gym to go in as like part owner at a gym, and so I just took that opportunity and moved to Vegas. Me and my family.
You said when you went to college you weighed 165 pounds, 6 feet tall. How much do you weigh now?
I'm 192 now, but when I train CrossFit and actually I'm lifting, like right now I'm training for a marathon and a 200-mile bike. So,
Ooh.
Of course, a lot more aerobically moving. But when I'm training CrossFit, I'm usually around like 195 to 200, close to 200.
It's crazy. In your pictures, you look like you weigh so much more. I mean, you photograph like a guy who's 6'4", 240. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's probably your shoulders and just your shoulders and just how long your legs are. They make you look.
I know, man.
Yeah,
like,
you got.
I try to tell
you got
people,
broad
like,
shoulders and a tiny waist.
That's it. I'm super like, you gotta remember these guys are my body weight, but like 5 inches smaller. That's compact. Like that's a compact dude. I'm a basketball player.
I mean,
man.
It's crazy that you weigh less than Fikowski. I mean, if I were to put a picture of the two of you guys together, I would never think that. But then again, if I saw you guys standing next to each other, maybe.
Not just less, like 20 pounds less.
Yeah, and how tall is Fikowski?
He's listed at 6'2".
Okay, so you go to Vegas, and then from there, is that when you go to Iowa?
Yeah, from Vegas, I was like, I gotta get closer to family. I gotta get my kids closer to family. We need some assistance. I was traveling a ton, so it was just like, I gotta do this. So we just packed it up after the 2017 games and headed to Iowa.
Will you live there the rest of your life?
I don't know, probably.
You muted.
He's telling them to. He's telling them to get out of the room. He's like, "Yo, beat it." You're muted.
Yes.
We'll wait.
No, you're good. That's exactly what I was saying. That's exactly what I was saying.
Yo, scat. So are you gonna live there the rest of your life?
Probably. I mean, I wouldn't care if I did or didn't. But as far as the foundation and what Iowa kind of presents in my eyes, like I don't see any reason to move. I've lived west, I've lived east, haven't lived south. I just like my seasons, man. I can't live where it's just warm.
I think we can count Alabama as south.
Yeah, Alabama, yeah, South Tennessee, Alabama. But Yeah, I like my seasons, man. Like, I like shoveling snow. I like using my fitness to shovel snow. And every year I build my kids a snowman and we go sledding and we spend that time together and have those memories. In the fall, we do fall things and pumpkin patches and, celebrate those things, or just have those events. In the summertime, we have those events. In the spring, like, I just enjoy my seasons. And so right now, while I'm young, I don't feel any need to be like, I just need warm weather because I can't function. Like, as long as I got my fitness, I'm gonna shovel my snow. I'm gonna push mow my lawn. Like, it's just who I am. So I don't want to go to a place that's constantly warm or constantly cold.
What city do you live in?
In Des Moines. The city is Ankeny. It's right outside of Des Moines.
Yeah, and your house looks awesome. Your neighborhood looks awesome. Like, it looks like the kind of neighborhood the kids can play in the street.
You looking at my house? You see my house?
I don't know, just from Instagram, just like from the kids. I just assumed it was your house.
Oh, the video. Okay, I thought you was like looking at something on, like, Googling my address and looking at the.
No, like Google. No, I don't know your address. Just from the stuff I see on Instagram, it just looks like, hey, like just the little shots I've seen of like a sled being pulled on a sidewalk, or the kids looking at a frog under the car, or just stuff like that. Just the little glimpse I get. Just like, oh wow, he's like in the Poltergeist neighborhood, like just a neighborhood, or like where E.T. lived, just a cool neighborhood. Kids can ride their bikes. You don't got to worry about anyone speeding down the street.
It's pretty comfortable. The kids get to go out and play and enjoy themselves, and there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood. So they all link up and ride scooters and ride bikes and stuff like that.
So did you go there and did you have a job there?
In Iowa?
Or you just went, or did you just go there and wing it, start hustling? I guess by then you have your online programming and you're hustling.
Yeah, when I moved here, we lived off of pretty much sponsorships and online sales, like apparel sales and stuff like that. And then my wife was just like, we need to open a gym, because there was only like 15 gyms or like 12 gyms in the Des Moines area, in the metro area. So. And
were you stoked? Were you stoked when she said that? Were you like, yeah, let's do it? Or were you like, oh shit, here we go again?
I was like, fuck that. I don't need to open a gym. I don't want a gym. I'll coach out of the garage. I just wanted to kick it. I wanted to kick it. But she was like, we need to open a gym now, before a lot of gyms start opening. And I was like, well, once you do this, it's forever. Like, I'm not just going to quit on it. I'm going to continue to push it, continue to try to make sure it thrives, continue to invest in it, whatever needs to be done. And so, she opened a gym. She pretty much got everything together and opened a gym. So we started a gym here.
And how's the gym doing?
It's doing good now. For the first year and a half was a cluster, and then COVID happened. But it's doing good now.
And then when did you launch Project Onyx?
That was almost a year ago to this date, right? July, August. I think it was in September to be a year, I think.
And was that your idea?
No, that was a friend of mine named Patrick Ford. His name is Patrick Ford. He's a physical therapist here. And he came to me and basically said, hey, I'm a fan of yours. I follow you on social media, and just so happened to live around the corner from you. And, I think
Now that guy was looking at your house, not me. That guy.
I know, right? And so basically, he was just like, we need to, I wanted to try to do something and create this opportunity for youth, and told me his idea, and I was just like, I'm game. Like, let's do it. I've been thinking about the same thing. I just haven't done it because I got so much going on, and it's time to move now. So let's do it. And so we just kind of put it together and ran with it.
And tell me what it is. What is Project Onyx?
It's to build equity in the. I was just joking. It is.
Hey, I scoured the entire website, and I go, The word equity isn't on here once. Like just last night, I commanded F. I'm like, and then I'm like, and all these people got upset at what I said because of that word. But the word equity isn't on this. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
So we started.
It's to what?
We started it basically to just provide access to the black community. And we were talking specifically about the black community, one, because I'm black and Pat's half black. When everything happened in CrossFit, when everything happened...
Wait a second. What's half black? What's half black? What's half black?
His father's black and his mother's white.
Okay. What if then he marries a black woman? And he has a kid with her? Will those kids be half black?
Well, he married a white woman, and he has a daughter. And his daughter is now probably a third black. Like, she has that quarter black in her, I guess.
It's weird. I guess I don't hear that distinction. I either hear just black or white. But okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, we started.
It's math. You're doing math.
Yeah. We started to basically give access to youth and just teach them about CrossFit. Like, get them understanding what health and wellness really is, like the actual foundation of it. Teach them CrossFit and help diversify CrossFit, where it's just like now we can get them certified, we can put more black coaches in gyms, and we can help eliminate this issue that I'm not even going to say issue. We're going to help eliminate the whole idea that CrossFit is not diverse and that there's not enough black people in it. We're going to help eliminate that. We're going to help put more black people in the CrossFit space, give them access to it. So maybe we find more black athletes. And that was the initial, where he's a physical therapist and I'm a CrossFitter. And it was just like, these kids can't afford a membership at my gym. They don't know about CrossFit, and they probably won't get into CrossFit because they don't have the representation to find interest in it. And so, go ahead.
Why do there need to be more? I want to use the exact word you used. You said get more black people into CrossFit. Why is that important?
Just for health issues, for health reasons. My mother's 65 years old. What do I tell her? Hey, Mom, if you move to Iowa, I can take care of you. I can help you prolong your life through fitness, through CrossFit. You come into my gym, that's my job, is to find all the underlying things for us to learn how to mobilize and stretch, keep your bodies and joints healthy as possible, and allow you to just the basics of increasing blood flow to your body so that you can stay as healthy as possible and, live your life longer and be able to function and do things. And so we know it works and we know exactly what it is, and we're just talking about the smallest stage of it, and that's just walking into a box and working out, right? That's the smallest stage of it. So we know it works, and if we're looking at this issue in the black community where they are eating bad or we're dying at rates higher because of certain things, it's just like, okay, well, if I know CrossFit's going to help, why don't I just give you access to the gym so that you can work out and we can figure this thing out? And so we just basically said, let's start with the youth, and as Project Onyx grows, hopefully we'll get into where we can find a way to bring adults in to where they can figure out the same thing. But it was just, as things happen, we got the uproar of the, are you leaving? Come in here. I'm sorry.
I'll be adding something for Lynn.
All right. One of my members is moving to DC today. She's leaving us, so. But
we'll take a gratuitous hug. If you need to take a break to hug someone, go ahead.
She'll be back. But yeah, so
right.
It's just like with Project Onyx, we can give this access to kids, and hopefully they can then spread the word of what they're doing, and we can continue to bring black people into CrossFit. We can continue to bring black people into the sport that has changed so many lives, and allow people to stay healthy and fit. And then on top of that, for me, on the flip side of it was, I own my own gym. Like, I'm a business owner. I can create revenue to take care of my family. It's like, why not get you a level 1 so that you can do the same thing? We can open up a gym in the middle of the city. We can start in your garage. We can do workouts at the park, and just, it's a way for a kid to immediately find a way to do something they love and create a revenue stream to take care of themselves and not have to clock in or work for someone else. And so it just all made sense with Project Onyx to start the program.
But it's not just for people with black skin. It's for people who can't afford a gym also.
Yeah, which
is that right?
Yeah, which was predominantly black kids and stuff like that.
I mean, you got a kid in this picture. I'm no expert, but you got a kid in a green shirt here on the end. I don't know how he got past your criteria. He doesn't look black to me. You see him? I'm on the Empowerment Youth page. I'm on the Empowerment Youth page. You let one slip in. I guess he could identify with being black. He could have told you, and you were like, "Shit, we're stuck taking this one."
Hold on.
And Elijah, how come there's no girls?
Are you thinking that Project Onyx is only for black kids?
I thought that you just said that in the beginning, but I
No,
only hear what I want to hear, so I may be wrong.
Not only for black kids. It was it's not only for black kids, Sevan. It was created to create the representation for black kids. So we're going to attract the same way a white kid is going to look up to you because he sees you and you look like him. And
no one's ever looked up to. Right. No one's ever looked up to me. Let's use someone else as an example. I'm 5'5". Only 9% of the population is shorter than me.
So,
but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not only for black kids. It's just that me being who I am in the sport is going to attract a kid that looks like me or that I can identify directly without even knowing who I am or what I do.
Right.
Because I'm black, and so therefore it was just to bring in kids like that. We have Mexican kids, we have Asian kids, we have white kids in our program, and we do have females. We have a ton of girls in our program.
How do you launch that? How does that start? By that I mean, like, how do you get your first participants? How do you get your first participants in a program like that? Let's say I want to start a program like that in my neighborhood. How do I get my first participants?
So what had happened was are you about to leave, Jess? Come in. I'm sorry. Give me a second.
Take your time. Elijah takes more breaks than me.
I don't know if I told you about this, but as he's been talking about it, I've been thinking. I went to this thing the other couple of weeks ago.
I gotta come out there and see family because
there were a ton of black people participating in this fitness event, so way more than I've ever seen at a CrossFit event, and I couldn't figure out why.
All right, girl.
What city was it in?
Chicago.
Oh, maybe that's why. I mean, my mom went to a gym in Benicia, California, and it was all Filipinos. It was like 50 Filipinos and my mom. It was crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah. So
that was their box. So sorry, go ahead. So how do you start this? Like the first day, like do no kids show up and you're like, all right, I guess I'll just do some burpees.
So when I first opened my gym, I went and spoke to a group of kids, and one of the kids I told him, like, hey, anybody that wants a free membership at my gym can come to my gym for free if you're serious, so that you can train, work out, and we can introduce you to CrossFit. Well, it was one kid that was like, hey, I'm serious, I want to come, and he started coming, and then he asked could he invite his friend, and he invited his friend, and so once his friend started coming, he invited his friend, and then I had like 4 kids. This was like when I first opened my gym, and from those 4 kids, I basically, once we started the nonprofit and started the organization Project Onyx, I told those kids to go get all of your friends. Go get them all. Awesome. Tell them to come to the gym. And they went out and went rampant and tell everybody, hey, we got free memberships. And by that time, I had been working with these 3, 4 kids for a couple years. And so, I mean, their friends have seen me, heard about me, started following me on social media and stuff like that. And, it was just time. It was just time for me to just
put a name to it. You were already doing it. Doing it. Like you said, you had. I mean, the premise is to give kids an opportunity to do CrossFit, and kids who might otherwise not be introduced to it or couldn't afford it, and you were already doing it. And then this dude rolled around, and you guys built a website and named it. Is what it sounds like.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and it was just, created a nonprofit just I
How
made
many
it
how many kids in the program now, Elijah?
I think right now we're almost to 30.
Holy shit! And do you guys have any sponsors?
Just went out.
Do you guys have any sponsors?
No,
Sponsors?
No, we try to collaborate and work with people, but no, we don't have any sponsors for Project Onyx.
And do you still have any sponsors?
Yeah. Yeah, I still have a few.
And do you have any aspirations to still go to the games?
Crap, you went out again. Do I have any aspirations for?
To still go to the games?
Yeah, when I get to the Masters, I'm going to try to compete in the Masters and try to qualify.
Yeah, because I still see you're working hard, man. You are working hard.
Yeah, every now and then putting in a little bit of work. Just like I said, just like I got this double century bike and this marathon run that just changing it up a little bit, trying to see if my body can uphold, different stimuluses and different type of trainings. But CrossFit's still the platform. So
Are you doing that training with anyone, or are you planning to do those events with anyone, or are you just doing that for yourself?
Yeah, just doing them solo.
Is it local?
Yes.
The Des Moines Duathlon?
No, I didn't do that one.
I just made that up. I didn't even know what a duathlon was until yesterday. Medeiros had to explain it to me.
Yeah, they just had a duathlon like last week or something like that.
As I dug through your Instagram, one of the people I was surprised to see on there was Mallory O'Brien. I had no idea. Obviously, she's popped on my screen just because she did so well at the Mid Atlantic region. Where did she do so well? Granite Games.
Yeah.
And is she your? Do you still coach her?
Not anymore. She's coached by James Townsend. I coached her first 2 years at the games.
And in Iowa?
Yeah, she's right here in Iowa.
She lives in Iowa?
Mm-hmm.
And how did you meet her? How did you find her? Is she just some kid who just rolled into your gym?
Yeah, I met her when I first moved here. I had dropped into her gym to work out, and that's when I first was introduced and met her. And then she was with another coach, and he brought her to my gym because they were going to like a competition and they didn't have runners or something like that. And then a couple months later, she contacted me and said, could she come, train under me? And, she wanted to make it to the games. And I was like, okay. Like, every kid says I want to make it to the games that's doing CrossFit. So I just told her to just drop in a few times and, work out, and we'll see. And if it's something that I feel is worth the time, then, we can go toward it. And she dropped in, started working out, signed up for a membership at the gym. And I want to say it was like a week of classes where I was like, gosh, this kid is different. And so put her in our comp class and started programming for her and working with her. And she just continued to excel and excel and excel and excel. And she just had that switch. She had that Froning switch, that Fraser switch, that she just had it. She just continued to get better and better and better fast. And I was just like, okay, this is going to happen. And that same year, I didn't qualify for regionals, which was 2018. And she ended up qualifying for the games. So I was just like, well, I guess I'm going as a coach.
Are you saying that with all seriousness? Like she has the Froning Fraser switch? Are you? I would guess you wouldn't throw that around lightly.
Yeah, I've been around both of them. I've been around Froning, Fraser, and Annie Thorsdottir enough to know what it looks like. And I told her when she was 14 years old, you don't owe me anything, because with your work ethic and your efforts that you put in and who you are, it's going to happen anyway. Trust me, it's going to happen. Like, I've been around these athletes. I've seen them. I know what they do and don't have. And I was very honest with her. Like, I'm not like them. Like, I'm just not. Like, I have no desire to put in that time. And I've never wanted to win the games. But you want to win the games. And I'm telling you right now, like, it's going to happen. just in due time. And she continues to awe me just throughout the years of her training and her dedication. She just continues to awe me, and now she's just on that stage where she's the world's looking at her now. Like, everyone's seeing her now. You know, when you're 14, 15 years old, no one's really paying you any attention. But now they see her, and they're gonna have to deal with that problem.
Huh. And what did you teach? Like, when she came to you, could she do a snatch or a clean or a kipping pull up? Did you introduce her to all those, or?
No, she was a gymnast by trade, so she had a lot of the gymnastics pretty locked down. She was pretty good. We worked on her weightlifting a lot, as far as technique, positioning, and then everything that we kind of dove into, like, was just like, she's a kid, so she just wants to go fast, and she thinks she can hold on for a long time. So it was just a lot of pacing, just getting her to understand, like, sets and reps that you can do for your body, for your fitness level where you're at, and then just challenging her by competing with her, because I trained with her for the 2 years, so it was just training with her and, you know, giving her that push, that edge, because I always train with Froning, so I knew the difference between having a coach and having a training partner, and for me it was like, nah, I'll take a training partner over a coach any day. And so it was just like, all right, I'll be your coach, but I'm going to train with you, because you got to know what it's like to lose, and you got to know what it feels like to win and handle yourself in both ways. So, yeah, just.
Can you imagine being 14 years old and training with Elijah Muhammad? I mean, just the chutzpah, it's either complete lack of awareness or complete self-confidence, right?
Well, it's not. It's not the only environment in which that's happening. This girl who's, I think, 16 or 17 now, Olivia Kerstetter, she's been training alongside Hepner for several years as well. But yeah, it is mind-boggling to think about.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun.
Crazy.
Yeah, those kids give you that extra edge, because, like, it's just certain things that you just can't beat a kid at. Like, when it comes to certain things, it's like a good fit kid she's just gonna like, you have no chance. So it gives you that edge to push a little harder too, as well as
easy.
Like, I know.
I got to see her compete live for the first time in Minnesota, and I have my own thoughts about this, and you already kind of alluded to it. But what do you think is a reasonable time frame for her to threaten for winning the games?
So I'm not going to say she can't win this year. I think she needs to feel that stage. I think this is her feel year. Like, I think she's going to do substantially well, because there's nothing that kid can't do. Like, she is well prepared and well rounded. But it's just that first year, man. Like, the Frazier, that feel stage, the Fronings, that feel stage, the Annie Thorsdaughter, that feel stage, where it's just like, I know I can win this thing, but it just didn't happen. I know she can win it, but it just might not happen. And then when she comes back after that, oh, I know what it feels like. I've tasted it. I just really feel sorry for a lot of the athletes that thought they were next in line.
Well, it
is like that, right? Sorry, Brian. Let me say this real quick. It is like that, right? Like, you think that, okay, I just need to wait for Tia to retire and Katrin to get old and Annie to get old, and then and they're going down and I'm going up. But then all of a sudden, Mallory O'Brien showed up. It's like does it break their heart? Does it break their spirit?
Heck yeah, it breaks your heart, man. Everybody think that, listen, everybody think because Frazier's gone that they're next. And now you got this kid who Hopper, is his name is it the Hopper kid?
Yeah, the Hopper kid.
Man, like, everybody thought they were next, and now this other guy pops up on the radar, and it's just like, oh shit, we got to deal with this dude. He's like 23. He's like 22 years old. It's like crap.
Oh, well, I don't know whether to laugh or to cry. Okay, sorry, go ahead, Brian.
No, there's an interesting dynamic in that regard for sure, because you got the older guys, Vellner, Frykowski, Panchik, that think like, man, I have an opportunity here, but you have Hopper, who's 23, and Medeiros, who's 22, who's already proven what he can do at a young age, and he's already had the opportunity to feel it out against Matt. But on the women's side, it's similar, I think, because obviously Mallory's exceptional, and I mean, she won 3 events consecutively at a semifinal. Like, that's pretty rare air right there. But, you know, Haley Adams is not very old, and Emma Carey is also very good. You've probably had a chance to see her compete.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you just, you know, because in individual sports in general, sometimes, like, the best people historically, they get knocked for saying, yeah, you know, Federer had all these majors won before Nadal and Djokovic showed up on the scene. So he kind of got a soft era where, yeah, he was the best, but there wasn't anyone to challenge him. And if Mal's going to come up and be the best, she's going to have that challenge from Haley and from Emma, who have also proven to be pretty good. Do you think it's an advantage that there's other people around her age that she knows she has to keep pushing against?
Yeah, for sure. I think that is definitely an advantage. I won't go into too much detail, but like when I coached her, we had a lot of mental talks about like seeing the field, and you know, I'm one of those guys where like I'm not a head down, just stay in my lane kind of guy. Like I'm like who else is out here doing what, and how good are they really, so I can figure out who I need to keep an eye on and who I like. It's just something about being aware of who you're going up against. You know what I'm saying? And finding the little things. Like I'm a huge person I'm a huge person on like understanding the other athletes. Like when I see Matt Frazier catch a clean and his body just stays as firm as possible and he just stands it up, that's a fear factor. It's like, okay, like that scares me a little bit. That puts a little like damper on what's going on. So it's just like, I think that's a huge part of the competition aspect, where it's just like, hey, you need to know that you can beat these girls. You need to know that, you know what I'm saying, what their weaknesses are and what they kind of lack at. Like you need to know that. Continue to do exactly what you're doing to get better and fitter and stronger, and learn more about yourself. But like when you're on the field, I need to know, sled pushes are her weakness. Like she was slowing down on sleds. That might transfer into some grunt things that she may have issues with. She doesn't want to hurt as bad as me. All right, here's my advantages, and here's how I, you know, almost like put the damper on her weekend when I crush her in a certain workout, you know. So I just think it's a part of the game where it's just like, I need to know all aspects of the competition and, you know, like things like that. So I think with her coming up with these girls that are around her age, it's going to keep her striving a little bit harder, because it's like they got as much time as me to continue to grow and get better, and you don't really know what they're good and bad at yet, because they haven't been able to perform at the games at that top level. So it's just like, we don't know what we're about to see that these kids are going to kind of do well. Like I know Atia Toomey, we've seen what she may not excel in multiple years until she gets better at them. So in those years, it's like, well, I need to crush her soul on this one. And so I just think that's going to be the push for them.
I think what Elijah is saying is one of the most honest perspectives I've heard about competition, as opposed to the conventional wisdom that like you hear from a lot of coaches and trainers, where it's like, hey, you can only do what you can do and put your head down and focus on yourself. I think that what he's saying is a missing part to a lot of this. And it's funny you say that, because you maybe just think of two different kinds of CrossFit Games athletes. There's the one who's the first time on the big stage and they're really nervous and it might scare them. And then and maybe that was the original Tia Toomey we saw. And now we see a Tia Toomey who thrives in the light. And the scary thing about Mallory is she showed at the semifinal, just by her post-game interviews, that she thrives in the light too. I mean, she already has swagger. She's already getting fed from the crowd. It's nuts. It's nuts.
There's one event there that was a great example of what Easy's talking about, both components of her. It was the event with the muscle-ups, the cleans, and then the torque tank. And when it's her turn to push the torque tank, she had head down, staring at the ground, step, 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 ultimate focus on the goal. But as soon as she finished and got to the end and turned around when she was making her way back to the rig, her head was not on a swivel. She was looking at the other girls and observing the things that Easy's talking about, while she's still achieving work, getting back to the rig to do her next set.
Yeah, like when we talk about sport, like think about it. Like before I went and played a team, what did we do? Scouting report. I need to know everything about this athlete before I got to go against them. That's it. There's a scouting report. I need to know the plays. I need to know what he lacks on defense, which hand he likes to drive to, if he spins a certain way. Like I need to know as much about this athlete as well as how I'm going to perform and how I'm training and preparing for this competition. And I think that's sport. Like, it's not like, oh, head down, just worry about myself and, you know, only control what's in my lane. It's like, whatever you lack at, I need to expose, or I need to just be able to crush you at that time that I know this is going to be a bad event for you.
Important question here. So what is the scouting report on Dave Castro, the basketball player?
Have you played hoops with Dave? Easy?
Nah, we talked about it, man. We talked about it, and he said he was straight up, man. He was like, "Easy, I suck. I just like playing basketball." And I was like, "Hey, man, listen. People can smack talk me in CrossFit all day long, and it may not even disturb me. Sometimes you may not get anything back from me. It may just be like, all right, cool. Like, the moment you start talking about basketball, I don't care if you're in a wheelchair. I don't care if you're a kid. I don't care if you're I do not care. The moment you cross the lines and come into that court, it is game on. I'm going to play you like I'm playing a professional athlete. And I'm going to talk to you the same way." So me and Dave chatted up, and he was like, "Yeah, I want to play you." And I was like, "Dave, you do not want to play me one-on-one. Like, I'm pretty sure it would not be a good experience for you. You would not enjoy it." And he was like, "Oh, I know I suck. I just want to have fun and play." And I was like, "Well, as long as you keep it as cordial and as fun as possible, but if you score a bucket and you say something to me, it's going to get personal."
And he will. He will.
I know he will. I
don't know if he'll score a bucket, but if he does, he'll say something. So what ended up happening with Mallory? She moved. Where's James? Where's James live?
James's gym is up the street from mine. So
she basically was that a painful separation?
No.
I had no idea he was in Iowa. I thought he was in Pittsburgh or something.
No, he's in Iowa. He's literally up the street from me. It wasn't a painful. I was just over there training with them at a training camp this weekend. Just stopped by to jump into training camp and just see everybody. But no, it wasn't a painful situation. She felt like she needed a little bit more support. I was traveling a lot, moving around a lot. She felt like she needed a little bit more support, and it was just that. I guess it was that season. She left her coach to come train with me. She left me to move over to James, and obviously the decisions that she's making are putting her in the best position possible. So I'm never going to fault anyone for doing what's best for them and to pursue their career or what they want to do. And so I just hugged on her this weekend and high-fived her up and, you know, told her how great she's doing, and trained over there with James and some of the other guys this weekend.
Do you so James has 2 amazing daughters, right?
Yeah.
Like he's really, and I don't know if they're gifted, but I would say it looks like it's just all tons of hard work, which is kind of the crazy thing, because tons of people will be like, "Oh, your kid's so gifted," and you're like, "Nah, not gifted at all. This is just putting the hours in. Yeah. This is just practice." Do your kids play with his kids?
When they were over there, yeah, but they don't play like me and James don't hang out. Like, we don't see each other regularly. Okay. Like, he's usually doing his thing. I'm usually super busy over here, and we're about like living ways. We're about 25 minutes from each other, living. I'm guessing.
Oh, okay.
But now they don't get to hang out as much. I'm pretty sure as they get older, as we find more time and like schedules and stuff like that, they probably will though.
I'm going to ask you a really uncomfortable question here. I apologize, but I got to know. Would you like to have me as a neighbor?
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
I would love to be your neighbor. Even if you didn't want to be my neighbor. I would love to live next door to a married couple that had 4 young kids, my kid's age, and man, it would be so awesome. I'd cut a hole in the fence between our backyards, put a little latch on it.
I was talking to a couple friends out in Santa Cruz, and I told them next time I come out, I'm gonna try to bring the boys and have them link up with Sevan's kids and stuff like that.
Who are you friends with in Santa Cruz, if you don't mind me asking?
Lance.
Yeah,
Connor,
from Nova.
Yeah.
Hey, if you come out here, you can stay at my house. I got this. Like my house is kind of like in two wings, and you guys and my kids can stay in my room, and you can bring your whole family. You have your own bathroom, your 2 bedrooms. That would be amazing.
You told me that like I want to say it was like 3 years ago. You were like, "Hey, come out, you and your family, and stay with us."
That was when I liked you. Now I just know we can make a lot of content and I can get more followers. So my agenda has changed, but
for sure.
But the invitation is still the same. I appreciate you coming on here. I have another podcast coming up. Before I do that other podcast, I'm going to go over to Project. I have the website open now. I'm going to go to Project Onyx. I'm going to make a small donation that fits my budget, and I just really appreciate you coming on. I know we have a long history together. I know we exchanged some DMs after the post on Noah Olson's thing. And true to your nature, like your line, you only gave me positive energy.
For sure.
And I have to tell you, when you responded to my DM, I played it like 5 times, and I just kind of just laid on my couch and was just loving on it. So thanks, man.
Sure, man. Yes, man. Thank y'all for having me on, man. Super appreciate it.
Yeah, and you got to come out. You got to come out. That would be so awesome.
Yeah, well, for sure.
And you can come out for a long time. I know traveling with kids sucks. Like I would never want to go anywhere for a couple of days. So if you come out and stay for a while.
Is that the same dog y'all had 10 years ago? Holy crap.
Yeah, Haley easy recognizes the dog. He doesn't move as well. He's old as shit now, but
man, she kept that dog with her all the time.
He said that dog was always with Haley.
Always.
It still always is, dude. It'll be 100 degrees and Haley will still make that dog come everywhere with her.
But yeah, man, thank you guys for having me, man. Super appreciate it, man.
Brian, it's your turn to talk.
Oh, I thought we were done.
Say bye or something.
Oh.
No, yeah, but you got to say something like thanks for coming on, or cute headphones, or you got to just like some closing statement.
Oh, okay. Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan.
Ooh.
No. LeBron. Nah, that was too quick.
I knew that. I thought that might
LeBron.
be a tough one for you because we're the same age, and I knew you grew up during the Jordan era, but you're also from the same state as LeBron, and so I was like, I wonder what he'll say.
I gotta go for LeBron, man. That's my guy, man.
I can't argue with that.